Good evening and welcome to another Premier League weekend on LFS. It's match week 10 and we get underway just as we left off with a London derby. Crystal Palace and Tottenham meet at Selhurst Park tonight to get another cracking Premier League weekend underway. Ange Postecoglou was a record breaker on Monday night, becoming the first manager to get 23 points from his first 9 games in charge. No other Premier League manager has got that. An incredible start for Ange Postecoglou. Crystal Palace, well, they'll be hoping they forget what happened last week. It was very scary for them. They were thrashed 4-0 against Newcastle at St James's Park last Saturday. To the teams tonight, and some interesting team news coming into this one this evening. Let's start with the hosts, and the hosts make just the one change following that 4-0 defeat to Newcastle last Saturday, with Jean-Philippe Mateta dropping to the bench and fit again Jeffrey Schlupp coming into the side. They'll be hoping that Schlupp can offer some counter-attacking speed, with Ebere Echeze and Michael Olise still missing for Crystal Palace. The side that starts tonight is as follows: Sam Johnston in goal, Joel Ward the captain, Joachim Andersen, Mark Guehi and Tariq Mitchell in defence, Sheikh Doucouré, Jefferson Lerma and Will Hughes in midfield, with a front three of Jordan Ayew, Jeffrey Schlupp and Odsonne Edouard. Ange Postecoglou has just one change himself tonight for his tonight for his team. Yves Bissouma comes in after his suspension. He replaces Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, and Ben Davies comes in following Destiny Udogi's injury on Monday night. The team is as follows: Vicario in goal, Pedro Porro, Christian Romero, Mickey van der Ven and Ben Davies in the defence, Yves Bissouma and Pap Sarr in midfield, with an attacking four of James Maddison, Dejan Kulusevski, Richarlison and captain Heung-min Son leads the line for Tottenham tonight. It's kick-off in a London derby to get match week 10 underway in the Premier League, and it's going to be a scary affair tonight. Crystal Palace Tottenham kicks off in just a moment. A very good evening to you and welcome to our new graphics for this weekend for the Halloween period. Before that though, the players will have a period of silence to remember all the lives lost, the innocent lives that have been lost in the war in the Middle East between Israel and Palestine. We remember all of those who are affected, and everyone has their hearts with the innocent lives that have been lost. Never forgotten all those innocent lives. We now also remember a great man that football will never forget. Sir Bobby Charlton, a man who changed the course of English football for decades, and a man who made a massive impact and made Everton the club that it is. Bill Kenwright and Sir Bobby Charlton, the memories, they will never be lost. These two incredible men we were lost in the last week. They will never be forgotten, and they have made a huge impact on English football. Well, Crystal Palace and Tottenham then. Back to the action for tonight after that minute of silence and that applause for Sir Bobby Charlton and Bill Kenwright. Back to the football, and this is where it gets exciting. Can Spurs really make it 10 games unbeaten? It's almost idyllic for them starting the season. Palace, they'll be hoping to bounce back from last week's defeat. I'll get to your chats in just a moment. Just before we get ready to go here, Palace in their traditional blue and red, and Spurs in their traditional all white. We are underway at Selhurst Park for another London derby. The Monday Night Football London derby was a cracker. Fulham were competitive against Tottenham on Monday night for the majority of the game, but Spurs, their quality just shone through. Palace will be hoping they can avoid that quality of James Maddison and Heung-min Son causing them issues in defence tonight, but it'll be a tough job. A casual Spurs fan says, come on Spurs, saying that Spurs will win 3-1 tonight. Funds also in the chat, welcome in, and says, come on Palace. I want Spurs to lose. Elvis, you probably know why. Yes, you're an Arsenal fan, Fun. Also, Elvis, who is winning the Manchester derby tomorrow in your opinion? Well, we'll be covering that game on Sunday, an hour earlier this weekend, 3:30, because of the clocks going back in the UK. We'll tell you all about the Premier League weekend, what's to come later in the programme. Now, Fun also says, now 1-1, which is an interesting, an interesting observation. Or maybe 2-1 either way. A close game is what Fun is predicting tonight. Let's see. Spurs have the ball then. Here's Mickey van de Ven, who's made a massive kind of impact since he's come into Spurs. Since he joined the club at centre-back, he's been a stalwart in that defence alongside Christian Romero for quite a while. Long ball from Spurs there, caught by the Palace keeper, Sam Johnston, inside his own 18-yard box. Crowd is really up here on this Friday night in South London. That's what we like to see. A night game always brings more atmosphere, especially in stadiums like this at Selhurst Park, an old style stadium. Always brings the atmosphere on a Friday night. Here's Christian Romero. Down the right hand side is Porro, trying to find the run of Kulusevski down the right flank. Well covered there by Tariq Mitchell. Almost putting his keeper into it there and had to clear that one. Sam Johnston for a Spurs throw. Mackenzie in the chat says, I say it's 2-0 to Spurs just for Ange. Of course, Ange has had an incredible impact since joining Spurs. A new style of play. A real kind of reigniting the belief in the Spurs fans. They're all behind him. It's great to see, for once, a bit of happiness around Tottenham. It's been a club that, since the departure of Michel Pochettino a few seasons ago, it's not been the club with most ambition and the most positivity surrounding it. Palace defending well there. Here's James Maddison. Maddison trying to thread a ball through, but too much pace on that one from the England international. And it will just find its way to Sam Johnston, who can gather. And Fun says, I'm going to admit I think Son is on fire right now. He is. Cracking player, Heung-min Son. He would go into any team in the league without doubt, no matter who you are. Even Manchester City would want him at the moment, even though they have Erling Haaland. Every team would want a Heung-min Son on their side. Here's Joel Ward. That's a poor pass, picked up by Mickey van de Ven. Nice Sarr. Trying to find through Maddison, but that's well defended again by Palace. There was talk before the game, this is the point that Roy Hodgson will have to focus on for his side this week, is that you need to try and stifle James Maddison. When Maddison gets on the ball, he creates so much for Spurs and helps them out in attack so often, so creative. And that's one player that Palace will be looking to double or triple mark this evening. That's well worked by Ward to steal it from Richarlison, and he has it here on the halfway line. Linking up with Hughes, but, well, Hughes just puts that one straight out of play. Not on the same page there, the Palace players. Spurs have the throw-in. Here's Papsar. Gets past his marker, down the right-hand side, the run of Porro in the infield, but Guéhi's over to mark, and Guéhi clears his lines, puts it out for a Spurs throw. 4.5 minutes gone, 0-0 at Selhurst. Between these two in this London derby. Fun says maybe just maybe a trophy, like League Cup, but not the league. Well, that's the thing, Spurs top of the league. At this moment in time, coming into this game, can extend the lead at the top. If they win tonight, they will go 5 points clear of Manchester City before they head to Old Trafford on Sunday afternoon. And Spurs could see themselves in a very, very comfortable position top of the table by the end of this weekend, if results go their way. And they win, of course, here tonight. That's lovely from Palace. That was lovely from Hudson-Edouard, and Will Hughes was through, but they defended it well, Spurs. Now here's Ayew to pick up the scraps. Saved by Vicario. Ayew still has it on the right flank. From nowhere there, Crystal Palace. Joel Ward with a cross. Cleared away by Van de Ven. Son beaten there, but there's nothing in that, says the referee. Andy Madley waves that one away. Wanted a high boot there to Heung-min Son, but the referee said he kind of ducked into it. Palace have the ball here. Here's Guéhi. Pressed by Heung-min Son and brought down by Heung-min Son, and Palace will get a free kick. All from nowhere. Ball over the top. Lovely header. Flicked on by Hudson-Edouard. And Will Hughes just made the run beyond. Just running right through. Spurs did get bodies to kind of close out that kind of runway for Will Hughes. And Ayew picks up the loose ball and takes a strike. Good save by Vicario, but that was good from Palace. That's really, really good. Now they have a free kick. Free kick on the left-hand side. Will Hughes to take. Left-footed. Switches it right across. Guéhi heads it down. Ward. Tries to flick it forward. Brought down by Schlupp. And now Edouard! Big save by Vicario. And gets a catch on the ball the second time of asking. Palace testing the Spurs keeper early on here. He's the best save ratio in the league. Only Alisson can match him. Vicario. He's made 2 big saves early on here for Tottenham against Crystal Palace. Will Hughes seems to be causing a few issues early on for the Spurs defence. But they do come out unscathed after those few Palace attacks. Here's Mickey van de Ven. Maddison under pressure instantly. Has to go back to his keeper. And now he will play it out to Christian Romero. Papsar. Romero again. Now Van de Ven. Looking for an option, but can only give it to his centre-back partner, Christian Romero. Papsar. Porro. Back to Sar. Down the right flank is Kulishevsky, his first real involvement of the game. He has to give it back to Romero though. Palace pressing. As soon as Spurs get into their half, they're putting the press on, and Spurs win the throw in there. Last touch off a Palace player. Just seeing the chance for Edouard again. It's Ward picks it up. Schlupp then kind of takes it down and deads the ball in front of Hudson-Edouard, and Edouard just strikes it at the first time of asking. A really good save by Vicario. A 79.5% save ratio this season, and the joint most clean sheets with 4. He's the best performing keeper in the league at the moment, and that's a major part in why Spurs are where they are in the league table. Only conceded 8 goals this campaign, Spurs. Only Manchester City have conceded less. Here's Maddison though. Big chance to score for Spurs. Ball across. Well defended by Crystal Palace. I think it was Jefferson Lerma retreating. It starts from the back. It's Van de Ven. Finds Richarlison. Then down the left-hand side. Maddison makes the run beyond. Gets into the 18-yard box. Looks to cut it back for a Spurs player in there. Son was waiting. Just goes a bit further back than he would have wanted. And Jefferson Lerma there on the cover Puts it out for the Spurs corner. From that corner, Palace head it clear. Edouard battling to win it back. And Van de Ven has it. Pressured by Will Hughes, and that was an unnecessary challenge by the Palace player there. Committing the foul on Mickey Van de Ven. And Spurs will get the free kick. See this one again. Van de Ven just spinning away from Will Hughes back towards his own goal to give it to Christian Romero, and Hughes was very late with that one. Never getting to the ball, just clipped at his heels there. Committed the foul. And Tottenham will have the free kick. 10 minutes gone, 0-0. Romero. Van de Ven. He's now getting a few boos from the home crowd. Strange as to why. Here's Bissouma. Back from suspension, of course, Yves Bissouma. After getting that that one-match ban against Luton for a second yellow card. In that 1-0 win they got that day, Spurs. Away from home in London. They'll be hoping Bissouma can keep himself on the pitch for this game this evening. That's lovely carrying from Jordan Ayew, who won it back there and off for Richarlison, and a bit of tempers flaring there from Richarlison committing the foul on Jordan Ayew, and Palace will get the free kick inside their own half. The crowd are really up here. Not saying that that's unnatural for Selhurst Park, because when this crowd gets going, they certainly give some noise. The Selhurst Park crowd. Here's Mark Guéhi to Mitchell. Trying to play the infield ball, but Spurs have that one covered and have it back with Porro. Schlupp on the press. Porro does well to clear it away, but will go out for a Palace throw. Palace scored only 7 goals this campaign. Only the 3 teams in the bottom 3 have scored the same or less than Palace. Here's Jordan Ayew though, whips a ball across, and Vicario, simple enough save for him. Will Hughes was again making that run beyond. Kind of joining Odsonne Edouard up there as a kind of second striker. It's caught me by surprise. I wasn't expecting that. There we go. Anyway, here's Christian Romero for Tottenham. Van de Ven. Madison. Fun said in the chat about the Spurs not winning in Europe this season. Of course, they're not in Europe, but that's actually a big benefit to Spurs as well. I have to say, you know, Manchester City played a Champions League game in the week. Spurs had the week, well, not the week off, because they played Monday night and then are playing now on Friday night. But I think the lack of Europe could help Spurs. I think they have the time to get the things right on the training ground. It will help Ange, because he needs to iron out exactly what he wants this Spurs team to do, and the more time on the training ground, the more used to it the Spurs players will get, and the more success they will surely have. But we will see how the season develops. A lot of people predicting that, you know, Tottenham have had an ecstatic start to the season, but will they have enough fuel to carry them all the way through the season, or will they drop off at some point? Son, lovely flick. Madison. Bundled down there by Joel Ward, and that will be a free kick to Tottenham inside the Palace half. Madison's down here, still down. Joel Ward. You just kind of get a bit tangled within the two legs of the player. Just of each player gets tangled. Yeah, it takes James Maddison down in the process. Well, he's back up to his feet now after a few moments of whinging. Not to be harsh, but was a bit theatrical, really. Anyway, Spurs will have this free kick then. Yves Bissouma and James Maddison around it. Looks like Maddison will be set up to take. I wouldn't bet against it. Just waiting on the referee's whistle. Whistle goes. Spurs ready to go. Bissouma does go for it, but he fires it well over the bar. Well, there, I was completely wrong. I said James Maddison was going to take it, but Bissouma tried to catch everyone out there, but the only person he caught out was himself. Fired it into the crowd behind the goal. Goal kick to Palace. The game's kind of settled down a bit, really. The last few minutes is not... Neither side's really gathering the game. Spurs yet to have a... That's probably their first shot, actually. That's a free kick from Yves Bissouma. Palace have had 2 shots, 2 on target. They've only had 30% of the possession. Spurs dominating it in that area at the moment in terms of possession. Here's Ben Davies. Richarlison. Ball forward to Son. Son inside the 18-yard box, battling with Guehi. Forced wide, finds Maddison on the left, up against Ward. Looks to cut inside. Anderson is there, and Ayew trying to battle past, and that's good defending by Palace. I mentioned he'd be double marked, and they double marked him there, but Spurs have it back. Here's Porro. Down the right-hand side now. Here's Kulishevsky. Whips across in. Richarlison does keep it in, and Maddison fires it over the bar. And wide for a goal kick. It's better from Spurs. They recover it really nicely. They don't let the momentum get away from them. Lovely cross by Kulishevsky. You think it's just going to evade all the players in there. Richarlison does well. Heads it back into the mix. And Maddison just takes it on the half volley. But he doesn't catch it anywhere near the way he would have wanted. And fires it well wide of the post. And high and wide, really. Behind for a Palace goal kick. But they're starting to find a few openings there, Spurs players. But here's Palace on the break. Ayew trying to find Will Hughes, but taking no risks there was Christian Romero. Fired it right out of play for a throw into Palace on the right hand side. Ward. Here's Jordan Ayew battling with Maddison. Richarlison gives it away again though. Here's Anderson. Now Lerma, but his pass is misplaced, and now Son can pick it up. Son going on the break, trying to find Kulishevsky. Kulishevsky on the right hand side. Back infield to Sarr. Kulishevsky has to go back to Romero on the halfway line. The Spurs recycle the ball. Have it with Maddison. Richarlison down the left. That's another interesting factor. Richarlison playing wide, Son through the middle. If anything, I would have thought it would have been the other way about, but we've seen that recently under Ange Postecoglou. Richarlison's being preferred as more of a wide player than a central striker. And see how he performs tonight. He already had a bit of an impact so far, helping out to keep that Spurs attack alive earlier before James Maddison's wayward shot. Sarr. Romero. Van de Ven. Both Spurs draws this season have come away from home. Just wait a moment, and Richarlison strikes from distance there, but that's gone wide. Completely missed everyone in there, and completely missed anywhere near the back of the net anyway. Wide for a goal kick. Both of Tottenham's draws, as was mentioned there, have come away from home and in London derbies. The North London derby, 2-2 away at Arsenal, and the 2-2 away at Brentford on the opening weekend of the season. Palace will be hoping they can go one better than a draw. They've had the chances so far in the game. Here's Will Hughes picking up the pocket of space there that Spurs had evaded, but again Spurs quick to recover the ball. Richarlison keeps it in play. Maddison can't keep the possession of it though. Anderson finds Ward. Now Ayew. Very fluid Crystal Palace. Very free. What we usually see from Roy Hodgson is that players are very rigid in their positions, but they've been very fluid so far. Mitchell finds the run of Schlupp. Schlupp on the left-hand side at the byline. Pushed back, pushed wide. Tries to keep it alive, does Jeffrey Schlupp, but that's really good defending by Romero. Stays with his man and recovers the possession of the football. Here's Sarr. Kulishevsky trying to force the attack down the right, but Guehi with the sliding challenge there put it out of play for a Spurs throw. 20 minutes gone, 0-0 at Selhurst Park. Spurs have had 3 shots, none on target. Palace have had 2 shots, 2 on target. Spurs having 69% of the possession to Palace's 31%, but neither side finding the back of the net just yet. I would say Palace have had the best opportunities so far. They've forced 2 big saves from the Spurs keeper Vicario early on, but as I mentioned, with his incredible form at the moment and his incredible save ratio, it would take quite a lot to get past him, it seems, at the moment. Here's Porro trying to break down the right, but that's well broke apart there by Chekdekure, and another throw into Spurs on the right flank. Porro will come over to take. Goes back to Sarr. Romero. Sarr. Down the line is Porro. Back to Sarr. Now Maddison a bit of space, but Basuma under pressure, but that was lovely skill by the midfielder. Son was coming deep, but Palace break that apart, and now trying to force a counter-attack. Here's Jordan Ayew, covered by 2 players. He's challenged there by Richarlison. Clipped that by the Spurs number 9, and Palace will get the free kick. Yeah, it was smart there from Jordan Ayew. Knew that he wasn't going to get past the 2 Spurs players, waited for the challenge to come, and Richarlison just kind of worked straight into his hands, really. Got Palace the free kick. This takes the momentum out of the game and gives Palace a bit of time to recuperate and recover and have a chance at attacking themselves. Will Hughes will take this free kick for Palace. Left-footed. Fires it into the box, bouncing around. Calls of handball. Guehi keeps it alive. Anderson with a flick, but far too much on that one from this Palace player, and that will be a goal kick. Although VAR have stopped the game momentarily. See this again. Oh. Does come off the hand of Pedro Porro. Ball comes in, into the box. They're bouncing up for it. There's someone's arm is involved there, but I don't think that's much for a penalty. There's a bit of a kind of clutch of players, and it does hit someone's arm in there, but there's not much in that really for a penalty shout. It's more of an ambitious shout rather than a genuine one from the Crystal Palace players. And VAR have ensured that the correct decision has been gotten to, and no penalty is the decision. Kulishevsky. Lovely run by Sarr, but it would have been a lovely cross if he could find the ball, because completely missed it. Completely missed the ball, and it just rolled out of play for a goal kick. It was a smart run, but not a smart touch, because he didn't touch it at all. It's not often that happens at this level, but when it does happen, it's quite amusing. Goal kick to Crystal Palace. Long ball from Sam Johnston. Ayew wins the first header. Needs a run on for Edouard, but that will find its way through to Vicario, who can just gather it for Spurs. Well, I spoke about Palace's lack in scoring this season. They don't give away too many goals either. Before the Newcastle game, they'd conceded 7 goals in 8 games. They now, of course, have given away 11 goals after 9 games, but that's a pretty good record for Palace. They've been very solid defensively all season. That's nice from Maddison, though. He was there to cover and clear it away. Ayew finds Edouard. Now Hughes couldn't find it back to Edouard, and Spurs will recover. Here's Richarlison down the left. Maddison on the cover, or Maddison on the run. Anderson on the cover. Hughes. Ayew tried to carry it with him, but gives away possession and kind of assists Maddison in getting the ball. Anderson with the clearance. Heads it away. Richarlison's touch is not great. Ayew can recover. Ward tries to clear it away. A bit frantic there from Palace. Bissouma. Now Maddison down the left flank. Trying to find a way into the box. Covered by Joel Ward. Maddison does find a way past and puts a ball in, but Kulusevski gathers it on the far right hand side. Recovery from Spurs there. Bit too much pace from that one from Maddison initially. Son having to come deep to get a touch on the ball. Palace are so compact and kind of crowding out the Spurs players up front and not allowing them to get as many touches as they would like so far. And that's really good defending. Joel Ward making sure that Richarlison has the last touch to give Crystal Palace the throw in. Lovely. Have to say, although Spurs have looked a few bright sparks, a few moments of kind of glimpses of what they can offer, but Crystal Palace are really in this game at the moment, really causing them a few issues. That's lovely from Edouard. Finds it to Schlupp, trying to find Edouard again, but Spurs get bodies in the way. Hughes on the press. Schlupp also pressing. And goes down there, does Papsar, I think. That late challenge from Jefferson Lerma will give Spurs the free kick. It's Bissouma, by the way, actually. So free kick to Spurs. Palace, their front three, front four, seem to be linking up really, really well. Just that final pass is letting them down at the moment. But other than that, in the build-up, they've looked pretty comfortable and kind of pretty cohesive. And that's, I'm sure, what Roy Hodgson will have asked this team. When you're going on the break, you need to be quick. It needs to be one touch. You can't linger about because Spurs get bodies back very quickly. Richarlison. Bissouma. Porro linking it up. Romero. Now down the right hand side is Papsar. Finds Porro on the run. Good covering again from Tariq Mitchell back there, helping out his defence. Mitchell battling with Kulusevski though to win it back because Spurs had it back. Now Maddison trying to find Kulusevski on the run, but good catch by Sam Johnston inside his own 18-yard box. Obviously. Well, just seeing the stats coming up on the screen there on the feed that I'm watching. Spurs yet to have a shot on target. Something that Ange Postecoglou will be wanting his team to change in the next 17 minutes or so. I talked about in my kind of pre-match chat about how Fulham were in the game against Spurs on Monday night. And Spurs, their kind of quality just shone through in the end. A lovely finish by Son and then Maddison as well in the second half. But it took them quite a while to really open up Fulham. Fulham were quite compact for quite a while and very much in the game. Palace just need to learn from Fulham and that game on Monday night and hope that, and kind of realise that Spurs will not give up here. They'll always try and find the slightest little opening. And with the quality that they have, they can always find the finish and get that opening goal. It took them 36 minutes against Fulham to get the first goal. We're now coming up to the 30-minute mark here at Selhurst tonight. Still 0-0. The last time Spurs came to Selhurst Park, they were joyous that night. They didn't lack the goal-scoring form that time round. They won 4-0 on their last trip here. Harry Kane with a brace, a Matt Doherty goal, followed by a Heung-min Son goal as well to finish it off. A few issues here. Something's just happened. So see the replay of this. It's Edouard and Romero. He does body him. My God. Odsonne Edouard trying to battle for the ball. Knows the ball's coming, and Romero's just waiting for the ball. And he just bodies right into him. Shoulder barges him there. Odsonne Edouard does Odsonne Edouard on Christian Romero. It's just funny to watch. Anyway. Here is Christian Romero. He's up and he's fine. And now he's getting a few boos from around Selhurst Park. It was Van de Ven early on. And now Romero. Goodness me. They're getting louder and louder, these Palace fans. Here's Richarlison. Under pressure, but he's pulled back there by Joel Ward. That'll be a free kick to Spurs. Palace's last win against Tottenham came in September 2021 here at Selhurst Park, where they were 3-0 winners that day. And Odsonne Edouard brace. I think that was his debut for Edouard that time round under Patrick Vieira that season. Van de Ven's gone down here. Edouard involved again. He does be involved, but not much in that. I think the Spurs players are making a bit more of this than they need to at the moment. Mickey Van de Ven's down and he's crying profusely. In real pain. There's no tears there. He's in pain, but I don't think there was much in that, really. Anyway, as I was saying, Crystal Palace, their last win against Spurs was on this ground in 2021. Wilfried Zaha opened the scoring from the penalty spot in the 76th minute before Odsonne Edouard wrapped it all up with two goals in the last 5 minutes of the game that time round to give Palace a 3-0 win. That's Palace's only win against Spurs in the league since back in, I'm scrolling, since 2015 was their last win before that one. That's only one win in the last 8.5 years for Palace. So you have to say they don't have a good record in this tie. But Roy Hodgson, if he knows how to beat a big team, he's been in this game long enough. Mickey Van de Ven back up on his feet after receiving a bit of treatment. He's on the sidelines now. I think he made more of that than he really needed to. Here's Ben Davis. Of course, has to wait 30 seconds before he can come back on, as part of the new rule. Here is Romero. Sarr. Romero. The referee's just waving Van de Ven back onto the pitch. Spurs just not looking to do very much until they get all 11 men back on the field. And Van de Ven is back into the action then. Here's Porro down the right hand side, intercepted by Mitchell. Schlupp helping out. And he can't win the ball back. Here's Kulishevsky. Mitchell's followed him in field. Kulishevsky across to Davis. Now Richarlison on the left. Back in field to Bissouma. Now Madison. He's covered twice. Again, double mark there, James Madison. Schlupp. Now Ayew. Down the right hand side he tries to use his skill. He does so, keeps the possession. Joel Ward. Now Joachim Andersen to Mark Guehi. Back to Anderson. Anderson, lovely ball over the top. Ayew's on the run, and Van de Ven had to retreat and fire it behind for a Palace corner because Ayew had made a lovely run past the Spurs defence. It was a fantastic ball by Joachim Andersen, and Ayew was well covered there by Mickey Van de Ven, who had to come across very quickly to clear the danger. Palace have the corner. First corner of the game, actually. 35 minutes gone, 0-0. Will Hughes will come over to take this. He's taken all the set pieces this evening, all the free kicks so far. He now has the chance to whip a ball in from a corner from the right hand side. It'll be an in-swinging left-footed corner. Doesn't beat the first man, but it's bouncing up, and Vicario does collect under a slight bit of danger, but he recovers really well. Spurs have the possession. Excuse me, once again. Apologies. My goodness. Long ball from Spurs. Here's Heung-min Son. Bissouma. Richarlison now on the left. Madison's made his way into the box. Richarlison wants to go himself. Trying to flick it to the back post. Kulishevsky's there waiting. Battling with Mitchell. Mitchell's seen him well wide now. That's really good defending. Here's Porro. Sarr. Bissouma. And Porro has to go back to Romero. Now Van de Ven. Down the left is Richarlison. Nice dead ball to find Davis. Davis bouncing around, and the ball is straight into the hands of Sam Johnston. Davis made the run in beyond the underlapping run, and kind of took a bit of a deflection off Anderson from the cross, and Guehi had it well defended, and Sam Johnston just came and collected. They look really solid, Palace. Spurs struggling to open them up and break them down at the moment. It's credit to Roy Hodgson. You know, a defence, although they've been strong, conceding 4 can really hurt a team's confidence defensively. But Palace seem to have bounced back quite well. Son, lovely ball to find Madison, but lovely recovery by Lerma. Fantastic. But there's been a stoppage here for some reason. That was beautiful between Son and Madison. Just as I said, Palace had been resilient. Guehi just comes in on Son. Son just goes a bit deeper. Guehi steps in, leaves the space in behind. Anderson tries to cover, but it's really good retreating from Jefferson Lerma on the cover, helping out his defence and clearing the ball away from Madison to stop the danger. Lovely distribution from Sam Johnston, trying to find Schlupp on the run. And Schlupp gets the touch off Porro and will win the Palace corner. Sam Johnston, his distribution was excellent there. A long ball down the left-hand side to find Schlupp, and then Schlupp just hit the ball off Porro, and it had so much pace on it that it went straight behind for a Palace corner on the left-hand side. And Hughes over to take this again. It'll be an out-swinging corner, this one, from the left-hand side. Palace have 6 bodies in the box. Whip the ball in. Flicked on by Anderson. Not much pace behind it. Doucouré takes it down. Blocked. Lovely block by Spurs. The body's in the way, but Palace haven't given up yet. Lerma down the line, trying to find Ayew, who keeps it in at the byline on the far right-hand side. Ayew spins past Porro, whips a ball in, takes it down as Edouard, and then Spurs clear it away behind for the corner. Palace growing in confidence here. More threatening by the minute. Really, really good from Lerma and Ayew. He does it incredibly well. He's backed into a corner. He uses his skill to spin past Porro, beats his man, and then the ball into Edouard. It's just cleared at the last second. Heavy touch, and Palace get the corner from the Spurs clearance. Excellent again from Palace. They would really have a case to say they should be 1-0 up here. Here's Will Hughes. Whips a ball in from the corner. Flapped away at the back post. Ward trying to follow it up. Edouard has the Ward kind of strike. Takes Edouard wide. Edouard whips a ball in. Will Hughes is there to meet it. Just half blocked. Hughes keeps it in the box. Palace really not giving up. And Palace get another corner. Their resilience and their ability to keep the attacks alive is quite remarkable at the moment from Crystal Palace. They're not letting Spurs away with anything at the moment. They're doing incredibly well at maintaining the momentum and the attacks and the pressure on the Spurs defence. This is their fourth corner. Whipped in. Flicked away. On the edge of the box, Joel Ward to strike, but not the most accurate ones from Joel Ward, high and wide, and out for a goal kick. 4 corners from Palace. Actually, it's going to be 5 corners because it took a deflection, that Joel Ward shot. I apologise to Joel Ward. I thought it was a poor shot, but it took a deflection that carried it wide. So Palace will have another corner. 5 corners. Spurs are yet to have a single corner in this half yet. Yet to have a shot on target as well. We'll see what Palace can do from this set piece. Left-footed, whipped in. Edouard was there. Anderson got first, but headed it just over the bar to Joachim Anderson. And that will be a Spurs goal kick. Finally, Spurs in their defence can take a sigh of relief and take a breath and kind of recover themselves, because compose themselves once again, because Palace have probably been the better team in the last few minutes. With those amount of corners, that's awful from Richarlison. Carried the ball and flicked it straight out of play. Here's Joel Ward. Wins another throw-in off Richarlison this time. I'm sure Ange Postecoglou will have a few words to say to his team at half-time, and if it does end up 0-0, even if they do take the lead, he'll still have quite a few words to talk about, because their performance in this first half really hasn't been up to standard, considering how well they've started this season compared to the other 9 games they've played. This has probably been the one where they've looked the least threatening, really, early in the first half. Lovely ball beyond by Palace, headed away by Romero, kept in by Porro. Bissouma pressured by Hughes, and Hughes just commits the foul there. Free kick to Tottenham in their own half. In the last 10 minutes, Palace have had 6 shots, but none of them on target. Spurs haven't had a single shot. They've only had 2 touches in the Palace box, compared to Palace's 5 touches in the Spurs box. But the big stat there is Spurs have had 78% possession. They are dominating the possession, but struggling to carry the ball forward and to finish off their chances. They're not even creating chances. That's the problem at the moment. They just can't finish off their kind of attacking moves. Palace are just stifling them time and time again. It's really impressive. It's really nice to watch from Palace. They break it apart again. Schlupp. Oh, lovely skill by Edouard. Taken down there by Papsar. That'll be a Palace free kick. They've taken it quickly. Ayew. Ward. On the halfway line. Has to go back to Anderson. He goes back to Sam Johnston. Son instantly on the press. Johnston with the long ball forward. Romero heads it the way it came. And Porro just gets it back to Romero. And Spurs will have the ball again. Last minute of the 45. Palace 0, Spurs 0. And just looking at the stats, you would say that Palace have been the better team in the half. Spurs have dominated the possession, but Palace have had the chances. That really sums up the first half, but Palace haven't been able to take their chances. in this first half, but they will be pretty pleased as to how this first 45 has gone so far, considering the result last week and where they were at half-time last week against Newcastle United. They were 3-0 down by the 45-minute mark last weekend. Although there's still time to go in this first half. Maddison makes the run, but that's far too much pace, and not even the pacey player in James Maddison can chase that one from Mickey van de Ven. That'll be a Palace goal kick, and that will carry us into the additional time, of which there will be 2 minutes. So 2 minutes for Spurs to get a shot on target in the first half. Something they've failed to do so far. I would say it would be a happier mood inside the Palace dressing room at half-time than inside the Spurs dressing room. Spurs will get a free kick here, the handball against Jordan Ayew. Van de Ven. Romero. Kulusevski. Back to Romero. Now Van de Ven. Last minute of the half. Oh, Romero, heavy touch there. Was almost punched upon by Odsonne-Édouard, but got away with it. Here's Maddison. Bissouma. Now Romero. Down the line is Porro. Linking up with Sarr, but the slip from Kulusevski breaks down that Spurs attack, and Palace cleared away for a throw-in. Romero. Van de Ven. Maddison. Back in field to Bissouma. Now Pape Sarr. Nice link up between Porro and Kulusevski. Kulusevski in the box. Now Porro. Well defended by Doucouré. Kept alive by Sarr. Richarlison was at the back post, but so was Sam Johnston. And a very good catch by the Palace keeper under pressure there. And that is the end of the first half. A first half where a very resilient and kind of compact Palace defence have really held Spurs to very little chances in this first 45. Palace, as I mentioned, would have an argument themselves that they should be in front at the break. But at the moment, at half-time at Selhurst Park on this Friday night football London derby, it's Crystal Palace 0, Tottenham 0. Welcome back to Premier League Live on this Friday night. The Friday night football, Crystal Palace against Tottenham. It is goalless at half time at Selhurst Park, 0-0. And we have an amazing weekend of Premier League football. We are back on Sunday this weekend. No Saturday games for you this weekend, unfortunately, but some interesting matchups to look forward to tomorrow. Chelsea against Brentford is the early kickoff. That's followed by two 3 p.m. games: Arsenal, Sheffield United, and Bournemouth against Burnley. Before the day wraps up tomorrow as Wolves host Newcastle at 5:30. And then a cracking Sunday of Premier League football. Now, a bit confusing this weekend with the clocks going back on Sunday morning. The two games that we will have live here in LFS will be an hour earlier than usual. West Ham against Everton is 1 p.m. On Sunday. Then there's three games kicking off at 2 p.m. Aston Villa Luton, Brighton against Fulham, and Liverpool against Nottingham Forest before our the finale of the weekend. An incredible weekend of Premier League football comes to a close with a cracker at Old Trafford on Sunday afternoon as Manchester United host Manchester City in the Manchester Derby. That's 3:30 on Sunday afternoon. So that's our Premier League weekend to really look forward to, and it's going to be a cracker. And I'm really looking forward to it. Two more games to come, as I mentioned: West Ham, Everton, and Manchester United, Manchester City are our two games to come on Sunday. We'll keep you up to date with all the games from Sunday as well over the course of those two games. Then we have NFL action on Sunday evening as we go to San Francisco, where the Bengals are hosting the 49ers. And then on the Sunday night football, the late game, the early hours of Monday morning, we will have Bears against the Chargers. And then Tuesday night, on Halloween, in the early hours of Halloween morning, we will have another cracker for you. The Raiders at... I've forgotten the game. The Las Vegas Raiders are on Tuesday night, and they go to the Detroit Lions. That is on Tuesday morning. So on a cracking weekend of football to come. Of action, and you can see all the streams on our channel page. If you go to the page, and you can see all our upcoming streams, what we've got coming up for you in the next few days or so. Fun in the chat says it's close, isn't it? Like I said, it would be a good game for Palace. Yes, indeed, you did. Fun, you did say beforehand that it would be a very close game between these two teams, and Palace would make it more difficult for Spurs than what is expected. And to be fair, they've really had chances of their own, Crystal Palace, in that first half. Despite keeping Spurs out at one end, they're threatening at putting the goals past the Spurs keeper at the other end, really. A few chances in that first half. They've had the only shots on target of the game, Crystal Palace. Spurs without a shot on target in that first half. They had 72% of the ball, Tottenham, but couldn't find a shot on target. One point I would like to make is that they have really kind of covered James Maddison excellently well. Maddison has been covered all over the pitch. He hasn't had an inch of space anywhere. And even when he has, Palace have been quick to kind of break it apart and kind of stop him from causing too many issues. And that's credit to Roy Hodgson, because he spotted the danger, he made sure that his players would know what the danger is, and they have kind of delivered upon that in that first 45. The next 45, the second half of the game, is going to be very crucial for Crystal Palace because it will present a lot more challenges. Spurs will be able to make changes, they'll be able to do different things. They'll have had a chat with their manager at halftime. The manager will have a few different tweaks that he'll like to make to maybe give them a bit more of an attacking threat in the second half. So Palace still have 45 minutes of football, 50 probably minutes of football at least to come, where they're going to have to do the same, if not better than that first half, to keep Spurs at bay here. And then even better than that, they're going to have to score themselves at the right moments to kind of take the game in their favour. In terms of Spurs and what they can do, well, they just need to be more threatening. You know, Son hasn't really got on the ball in that first half. He hasn't had much of the game, and that's credit to Palace defensively. Son has had 9 touches in that first half. James Maddison's had 32 in comparison to that. Richarlison's had 42, and Kulishevsky's had 20. So Son's really isolated in that attacking area. He's had to come deep a few times to get the touches on the ball, but even when he does come deep, he hasn't really. They haven't really been able to create from that position so far, Spurs. So Palace really so well covering all of the Spurs attackers at the moment, and credit to them, because as I mentioned in that first half, losing 4-0 to Newcastle, although it's Newcastle, although they're a great team, and although it's a tough place to go, and although you've only conceded 7 goals in the previous 8, but losing 4-0 anywhere can really cause a kind of panic in a defence and say, are we doing this the right way? Or was that just a bad day at the office? And from what I've seen in that first half, it seems like that game against Newcastle was just Newcastle were on incredible form that day, and I think any defence wouldn't have been able to defend that. And we're seeing with Crystal Palace here, they're currently holding the best team in the league according to the table, the best performing team in the league. Spurs have scored 20 goals this campaign. There's only a few teams have scored more. 3 of those teams, Brighton, Newcastle and Villa, with Liverpool the only other team matching them at that level. So Spurs know how to score goals. 20 goals in 9 games is a pretty decent ratio, considering they've been held back on a few of those occasions and been held to a few close games. But what we've seen from Ange Postecoglou in his early reign is that they've been able to eke out results when it matters. The Liverpool game, although there was a lot of controversy about that one, they still got the result. The Luton game, they were down to 10 away from home, a tough place to go, a new side in the Premier League, a difficult atmosphere, but they held it out and they got the 3 points. So one thing I would make about, despite Spurs not having as much attacking threat in that first half as probably Ange Postecoglou and the Spurs fans would have wanted, they've still been able to eke out difficult results in tough, close games early in the season, and we'll see if they can do the same here in the second half. But we will see what comes. The second half is on the way very, very shortly. Just before that, let me just remind you again what we've got coming up for you on Sunday afternoon. 1 o'clock start on Sunday. 1 o'clock kickoff at the London Stadium as West Ham host Everton. Everton earlier in this week we've been hearing the news, rumours that they could be on for a 12-point deduction in the Premier League this season, Everton, due to financial breaches, and we'll have a lot to talk about on Sunday about that at the London Stadium. That is our early game before we head to the Manchester Derby. That's Sunday, 1 o'clock, West Ham against Everton. The second half then at Selhurst Park is on the way very shortly. Make sure you don't go anywhere. Well, half time at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, Selhurst Park, with Crystal Palace and Tottenham. This is how the table looks in the Premier League as it stands. A draw here would put Spurs 3 points clear at the top of the Premier League table, and only a win in the Manchester derby on Sunday would put Manchester City level on points. They'll be hoping to go for 2 points better in the second half to go to 26 and make it insurmountable for City this weekend. Ange Postecoglou is hoping for a better performance from his team in the second half. It's on the way next. Welcome back then to Selhurst Park. Ready for the second half to go. Spurs are going to make a change at half time. Ben Davies, of course, coming in, replacing Destiny Adogi, who was injured on Monday night. Well, he's being replaced at half time, and Emerson Royal is coming on in Ben Davies's place. Trying to tweak a few things is Ange Postecoglou, clearly. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on post notifications if you haven't done so already. Greatly appreciated indeed. And Palace will get us underway in a second. A reminder that Andy Madley is our referee this evening. Stuart Atwell, the VAR. He's had a bit of involvement early in the game, the VAR. But nothing doing from that anyway. Hopefully nothing doing the second half either. Want to see football doing the talking. Richarlison, a bit deeper than he would have liked to be. Helping Spurs out there early on. Romero. Kulishevsky, heavy touch. And that'll be a Spurs throw though. Last touch off a Palace player it seemed. Van de Ven then. Trying to get Spurs going quickly. Richarlison. Down the left hand side. Here's Emerson Royal. Half-time change then. Interesting to see what kind of position he takes up in this second half. Because, of course, as we normally see, or as we have seen in the Premier League in recent weeks and last few months as well, fullbacks kind of playing a more in-field role. That's what Pedro Porro's been doing. Will Emerson Royal join him in that type of position in the second half? We will wait and see. Here's Papsar. Whips an early cross in. Cleared away by Anderson. Mitchell battling with Porro. Mitchell does get it cleared, but Papsar will recover. Now Basuma. Here is Emerson Royal in that kind of inverted full-back role. Romero. Van de Ven. All inside the Palace half. All the outfield players for Spurs. Trying to break it apart. There was Ayew, but lovely carry from Van de Ven. Lerma does break it apart, but Spurs win it back instantly. Romero. Down the right hand side. Here's Porro. Porro puts a cross in. Cleared away again, this time by Guehi. Palace won't have panicked about their lack of goals in the first half. They've only scored one goal in the first half this season. The majority of their goals have come in the second 45. There's a long ball from Palace from the back. Van de Ven was beaten there, but the referee had said he was fouled by Edouard. Free kick Spurs, and they get it moving quickly. Romero looking for the ball in behind for Madison, but Anderson deals with it. Kulishevsky picks up the loose ball. Porro down the right hand side. Porro looking for the cross, takes a deflection, but straight into the hands of Sam Johnston. Bit better from Spurs, but again Palace closing it down. Palace looking to go on the counter-attack, it seems, all the time. Continuing with that kind of approach that they had in the first half. Going on the counter-attack. Johnston with a clearance. Ayew trying to spin away from Royale, but he had it covered there, the Spurs left back. Spurs keep the ball. Here is Royale on the ball again. Pulled back by Ayew that time. Spurs will get the free kick there. Ayew's just having a go at the assistant on that side that flagged for the free kick. Quickly walks away. You can get a yellow card for that now. Something Jordan Ayew will want to avoid. Romero. Van de Ven. Really close-knit partnership that at centre back for Spurs. Van de Ven and Romero. Seen a couple of instances in that first half where they're bailing each other out, helping each other in certain instances, and that's what makes a good partnership at centre back in the Premier League. Knowing each other inside out and knowing when to cover and when not to cover, when to help out, when to let the other man do his job. Here's Schlupp, beaten off the ball by Papsar. Kulishevsky makes a nice infield touch, and that forces the foul from Jefferson Lerma. Another Spurs free kick. They've taken it quickly once again, not looking to take their time off the free kick. Spurs looking to get it going quickly and keep the momentum in the game. Keep it going in their favour. A lot of early possession. Porro down the right hand side. Kulishevsky keeps it in. Gets past Guehi. Trying to get past Mitchell, who blocks it, and Spurs get their first corner of the game. Bit better in attacking phase there from Spurs. Kulishevsky goes short from the corner. Madison's not switched on, and Will Hughes does well to completely destroy that Spurs chance. They tried to go quickly, and Kulishevsky and Madison weren't on the same page. Palace get the throw in from the Spurs corner. My goodness me. Lack of awareness there from James Maddison. All to the benefit of Crystal Palace. Tariq Mitchell to take this throw in then for Palace. He's been impressive defensively in that first half, holding off Kulishevsky, not having any real chances in that first half. Dejan Kulishevsky or involvement at all in that first 45 really. And that's credit to Tariq Mitchell in his covering ability, his defensive acumen really. Palace will take this free kick then. Free kick from that throw-in, by the way. Will Hughes filed. Guehi takes it. Spurs will get it away, but now Ayew's picked up the second ball. Trying to feed through Edouard. Schlupp keeps it alive. Schlupp gets past his man. Schlupp plays it across, just evades Edouard. And Spurs half clear it. And now they do get it away. Inches away from Palace taking the lead there. Edouard was in, but the ball just evaded him at the last second. Really good from Palace to recover the ball again, though, from the Spurs counter. Guehi. Lerma. Anderson. Now Ward. That got the crowd up there. That's what Palace need. Get the crowd behind them again. Oh! Sam Johnston. Very nearly giving it gifting a Spurs goal there. Madison was on the press and Johnston just got it away at the last second. Just in the nick of time. Wow. Goodness me, the game's starting to hot up now. Porro finds Papsar in the box. Bit of a scramble. Madison, and it's in! And it's an own goal from Joel Ward. They're resilient defending in the first half from Crystal Palace. And Spurs find the net from a Palace own goal. As cruel as they come. And Tottenham do find the finish and do open the scoring at Selhurst Park. It's really harsh on the Palace defence, who have been so compact and so controlled in that first half and the start of this second half. But Spurs have been a spark lit in them at half time, and they've come out more threatening in the second half, and James Maddison just breaks into the box. Papsar just cuts it back. It takes a deflection. Maddison's the first to react, strikes it across goal, and it just caves in off Joel Ward's left leg and into his own net. It's horrific in terms of how harsh and how horrible it is for Crystal Palace, but Tottenham once again, they have that slight advantage, and they get that slight kind of balance in their favour. And it's harsh on Joe Ward and Crystal Palace, but Spurs have the lead, and that's what will matter. Palace 0, Spurs 1. That was so much better from Spurs in terms of their ability to sustain attacks and sustain pressure. Palace just couldn't get out of that zone, and it left Joel Ward in a position where he wanted to clear it, but when he got the touch on the ball, there was only one place it was going, and that was in the back of his own net. We talked about how Spurs have been able to eke out results from these tight games early in the season. This might be another kind of evidence to it, but Palace have it back. Edward with a strike. Took a deflection. Will be a Palace corner. They won't give up yet, Crystal Palace. Slight setback, but lovely from Doucouré to win it back, and then Edward takes the strike. It deflects off Romero, and Palace will have the corner. What'll be perfect for Palace right now is to get an equaliser pretty quickly. Spurs will be hoping that they defend this corner. Defend it well. Deny Palace. Hughes with the corner. Whipped in. Headed on. And just wide from Mark Guehi it was. Got the header, but it went right across goal. Glancing header from Mark Guehi. He had to get the pace behind it, but only kind of glanced it. And it flicked right behind for a goal kick. But it was a free header for Mark Guehi. He should have done better, really. Disappointing in terms of a Spurs defensive point of view. They could have been instantly pegged back, but they got away with one there. Well, still, by the way, Spurs are yet to have a shot on target. Despite leading, they haven't had a shot on target in the game. But again, it was Maddison heavily involved in the Spurs attacking play, and he takes the strike that ends up caving in off Joel Ward, and that's what gets the Spurs goal. I mean, he doesn't directly score it, but he may as well do from that point. Fun, how did they score there? Yeah, it was an own goal. Joe Ward own goal. Maddison took the strike it right across goal, and then Joe Ward just trying to clear it away, just hits it into his own net. There's not much he could have done, really. But that was what Spurs created, and they made it impossible for Palace to clear, and that's probably really nice from their point of view. Really kind of sweet from their point of view that they don't have to directly score the goal. They just pin Palace in and cause them conceding. Referee getting involved in play there, trying to get in on the action. Andy Madley just has to stop this here, give Spurs the drop ball after he got involved there inadvertently. Pulled back there was Emerson Royale. Free kick to Spurs. Well, I don't think Roy Hodgson will want to change his team's tactics so far. I think 57 minutes in, they haven't really still given up any opportunities to Spurs. The own goal is pretty much of Palace not being able to clear the ball, but it was good from Spurs initially. But at the end of the day, it wasn't a clear-cut chance. They had bodies back in the way, Palace. It's just unfortunate that the ball went into the net after one of their own players. But other than that, I don't think Spurs have created anything clear-cut, really. And that'll give Roy Hodgson a lot of... he'll be happy with that. But He'll be hoping his side can threaten down the other end. Try and get them back into this one. Here's Jordan Ayew. Emerson Royale had it covered and put it out for the Palace throw on the right hand side. Palace, although, are going to make a change, it seems. So although Roy Hodgson is happy with probably the way his side are playing, maybe not happy with their finishing ability so far. Maybe make an attacking change. Will Hughes, covered over there by Emerson Royale, does well to get the ball away from the Spurs defence. Son coming deep to help out. Kulusevski has it now. Battling with Mitchell. Got the free kick off Mitchell. They take it quickly, Spurs. Sarr. Son getting caught under the ball. He can recover it. Here's Ayew. Back to Anderson. Now wide to Ward. Misplaced that from Joel Ward. Need to regain their composure, Palace. Spurs can't put them to bed now. They get a second goal. It'll look a mountain to climb for Palace if they're trying to get back into the game from that position, but need to recompose themselves and make sure that Spurs don't do that from their point of view. Here's Richarlison. Now Maddison puts the cross in. Cleared away by Anderson. Out for a Spurs throw on the left hand side, and that will give Palace the chance to make this change then. Jeffrey Schlupp is the man that's going to make way. And the man that's going to come on to replace him is Jessurun Raksaki. So an attacking change from Roy Hodgson, changing his winger. Talked about the lack of wingers that Palace have at the moment, with Eze and Olise both injured. Two star players for Crystal Palace. Jeffrey Schlupp making way here tonight, and replaced by Jessurun Raksaki. Decent performance from Jeffrey Schlupp. Caused Spurs a few issues. Was heavily involved in that big chance for Hudson-Edouard at the start of the second half, and was in the mix in the first half. Will Hughes trying to break it apart. Spurs just get away. Here's Son. Son feeds it wide for Porro. Porro plays it across. Cleared away by Anderson. Seems to be getting to those crosses first every time, Joachim Anderson at the moment. Just hit the 60-minute mark. 30 minutes to go plus additional time. Crystal Palace 0, Tottenham 1 here at Selhurst Park. And still, despite that, Spurs yet to have a shot on target. I'm going to still mention this. Until they get a shot on target, I'm going to keep mentioning it. Because it's quite significant, really, obviously. Here is Vicario, who, way back at the start of the game, made two big saves to deny Crystal Palace. What huge saves they seem to be at this moment in time. This game as narrow as it comes. Spurs' last game against Crystal Palace back in May was a tight game, where they eked out a 1-0 win at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Harry Kane, the goal scorer on that night, on that day or night, I can't actually remember. It might have been a day game, but Spurs did get a 1-0 win in that game. That's the closest it's been in that in a Crystal Palace Spurs game since a 1-1 draw back in 2020 here at Selhurst Park. There were back-to-back 1-1 draws in 2020 here at Selhurst. Other than that, there have been 3 or 4 goals scored in the other 4 games since. We've only had one here tonight. Although there's still a long, long way to go until that is confirmed. Anything can still happen in these next 27 minutes or so. It's good covering from Raksaki, and wins the throw-in off James Maddison. He's claiming his innocence, saying that they didn't get a touch there, but the referee was having none of it. Spurs are going to make a few changes of their own in a moment. Reignite themselves in attack. I have to say, if Roy Hodgson isn't happy with how his attack have performed, and they've been pretty decent, I think Ange Postecoglou must be fuming as the highest attack haven't been anywhere near their standards. And they're going to make a double substitution here to try and change that outcome. Bissouma is coming off. He's being replaced by Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. And Richarlison is also making way for Brennan Johnson. So more pace in attack for Spurs, and a change in midfield as well to try and help them at creating those attacks. We will see what difference those changes make. Papsar. Porro with a heavy touch. Raksaki couldn't recover initially. Edouard was battling. Romero back to his keeper. Edouard on the press, and nice ball from Vicario to find Porro. Kulishevsky. Lovely from Spurs. Here's Kulishevsky. Finds it to Son. Son just left it. He was offside anyway. He did make a gesture towards the ball, so the offside flag will go up against Heung-min Son there. And Palace will get the free kick. I'm sure Ange Postecoglou would like to get Heung-min Son as captain involved in the game a bit more. I said at half-time he had 9 touches. He's had 4 touches so far in this second half. We've played 19 minutes, so still lacking the ability to get involved in the game. Not being involved as much as he would like, or anywhere near as much as Spurs would like. Tariq Mitchell to take this throw in for Palace. Hughes. Mitchell looking for the cross, but that one will go well out of play. Behind the byline for a goal kick to Spurs. Palace, readying up another change. Just seeing an image of one of their substitutes getting a few bits of tactical information on the sidelines there. Find out who's going to come on for Palace in a moment. Very shortly, of course. As we enter the last 25 minutes of this game at Selhurst Park. And still a very, very tight game, despite Spurs having that narrow lead. Lovely crossfield ball. Johnson heads it forward. Brought down nicely by Maddison. Maddison flicks it back in for Johnson, and Son doesn't have to be involved too much. He only needs to try and finish the chances, and he's finished it off beautifully there, Heung-min Son. Heung-min Son, 14 touches in the game, but this one is the most crucial one. Puts Spurs 2-0 up, and it really gives Palace a mountain to climb now if they're going to get back into the game. It's all from James Maddison again, linking up with Brennan Johnson down the left-hand side. It's a lovely 1-2. Maddison gets into the box, waiting for Brennan Johnson to make the run inside again. He does so. He cuts it back, and on the edge of the 6-yard box was Heung-min Son, and he was there to just slot it in past Sam Johnston and put Spurs 2-0 up at Selhurst Park. Really, really good finish. It's really hard to miss from there, but you need to be in those positions to take those chances, and Heung-min Son was exactly where he needed to be there. Crystal Palace 0, Tottenham 2. There's only going to be one outcome surely now, although there's still a long, long way to go. It seems to be Spurs very much in the ascendancy now. Gives them a bit of breathing room really now. This 2-goal lead. And to make things go from bad to worse, Tariq Mitchell's just feeling an issue here. He has an issue. So he'll receive a bit of treatment while we wait for the restart. Let me tell you what's coming up. 2 more Premier League games to come on Sunday for you. West Ham against Everton. We start at the London Stadium a bit earlier than usual at 1 o'clock before we head to Manchester for the Derby of all derbies. Manchester Derby, United v City at Old Trafford, 3:30 on Sunday afternoon. Tariq Mitchell just getting a bit of treatment at the moment. Continuing to get that treatment. This win would be Spurs' 8th win of the season. 8 out of 10 wins. 22 goals scored and 26 points. They will be 5 points clear of second place Manchester City by the end of the night if they can convert this 2-0 lead into 3 points. And that will mean City will have to win against United at the weekend to close the gap, very much so, into down to 2 points again. But Spurs, they're in a very, very good position at the moment. You struggle to see, mentioned early in the first half about people predicting they might fall off, but it's hard to see when. Although we've only played 10 games into the season, there's still a long, long way to go in the season. But at the moment, if Spurs keep all their players fit, you struggle to see where they're going to drop form. Maybe when it gets more congested around Christmas time, that will be their big test. But really, to start this season, they've been pretty much impeccable. Even in that game, they dropped points against Arsenal in the North London derby. They were the better team, should have won it. The only game really where they've been heavily matched for ability was probably Brentford in the opening game, and that was Ange Postecoglou's first game in charge. Away from home in a London derby was never an easy start for him, and they still got a point out of that one. Impressive. Really, really impressive. Palace are going to make a few more changes following that second goal. Double change. Mitchell and Hughes are making way. Mitchell, it seems to be an injury issue, and Nathaniel Klein. And another new player for Palace, Nauru Ahamada. Apologies, I've absolutely butchered that name. Nauru Ahamada has also come on to the pitch. So a double change there for Palace. Although a goal for Palace very soon would still keep it a very, very close game and maybe set us up for a late bit of drama. But at this moment in time, with 20 minutes to go, Palace 2-0 down, Spurs are quite comfortable. But as the cliche says, 2-0 is the most dangerous scoreline in football. We know that it is the most dangerous scoreline in football. Many teams have been pegged back from this position when they think they're done and dusted. The other team just comes back into it a bit, gets a goal back, and the game's in the momentum of the team behind. Palace have a throw in on this right hand side. Here's Raksaki. Ward flicks it into the box, but cleared away by Spurs through Papsar, and another Palace throw in. Need to make the most of their chances so far in these last 20 minutes, Palace, to try and see if they can get a goal back to give another layer to this game, another twist in the tail. That Son goal was their Spurs' first shot on target of the night. I can now stop mentioning it because they now have a shot on target. And simple enough one for Son, but lovely creativity, lovely build-up play. Really, really good from Spurs, and Brennan Johnson directly involved. One of the Spurs changes, 2 minutes it was between the Brennan Johnson substitution and him being directly involved in assisting Heung-min Son to a second goal, into Spurs' second goal. So Ange Postecoglou's changes certainly made a difference. Didn't take them very long to make a difference. That Palace throw-in will just evade everyone there, and that will go for a Spurs goal kick. 18 minutes to go. Crystal Palace 0, Tottenham 2. And Ange Postecoglou and his team are heading towards another 3 points in the Premier League. He was a record breaker on Monday night, getting 23 points from his first 9 games. No one has ever done that in their first 9 games as a Premier League manager in history. 22 points was the previous record. Ange Postecoglou bettered that by 1 point to break a record very early in his Spurs managerial career. Although it does get a bit more tough for Spurs in the coming schedule. They've got Chelsea to come next, and that's not going to be an easy game for Tottenham. Then they go away to Wolves in the following weekend. Wolves, of course, who have beaten Manchester City this season already. And Chelsea, who will look to be more of a tough test than they were early in the season. They gave Arsenal a real scare at Stamford Bridge last weekend. Palace wanting a free kick there. Foul on Raksaki, but the referee waved it away. Said there was no foul in there. Also coming up for Spurs, talking about that more difficult run of games. After the Wolves game, they have Villa at home before they head to Manchester City. Then they have West Ham at home, Newcastle at home before they go to Forest in December. A tough run of games for Ange Postecoglou. Wolves is the most winnable one of those, but this is where the big test comes. Beat the teams you should beat. Beat the teams you have to beat to really become the best. Of course, still very, very early under Ange Postecoglou. Still unbeaten, Spurs, of course. Only one of two teams in the league without a defeat this season. Arsenal, the other one. Arsenal, although, have one more draw than Spurs coming into this one. Arsenal on 21 points coming into this, where Spurs were 23 points. One of those draws for both those teams was against each other in a North London derby. Højbjerg, Van de Ven, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, out to Romero, back to Højbjerg again, looking for the long diagonal down the left hand side, covered by Joel Ward. Raksaki there as well, and he does get the free kick this time, fouled by Emerson Royal. Free kick to Crystal Palace. 15 minutes to go. Spurs a 2-goal lead. The referee, I mentioned it in my commentary of the Liverpool game last night in the Europa League. There was no yellow card. There was one yellow card, I think, in the whole game. We're yet to see a yellow card here tonight as well. Andy Madley firmly keeping the cards in his pocket. The last time a team from North London came here, they ended up with 10 men. That was Arsenal early in the season, but they still eked out a 1-0 win. Crystal Palace will get another free kick, a switch ball there. And a foul on a Crystal Palace player will give them a free kick. So an opportunity to whip the ball in. No Will Hughes on the pitch anymore. He's taken the vast majority of their set pieces all night. It'll be Jordan Ayew to take up the mantle for the rest of the game, it seems. Ayew. Free kick on the left-hand side. Can he get it into a good area for Palace to try and get a scoring opportunity? Right-footed. Whipped across. Met the head of a Spurs player first, and Romero headed it behind for the corner. A lovely ball in. Very threatening from Jordan Ayew. Right into the mix. Curling towards the keeper. And a really good defending by Christian Romero to get there first. And head it behind for the Crystal Palace corner. Palace's 7th corner it will be now. Spurs have had just the one, of which they completely messed it up. They didn't actually create anything from that corner, Spurs. Palace have this corner on the right hand side. Ayew will take, right-footed, whipped in across, half cleared away. Doucouré on the edge. Lerma trying to keep it alive. Doucouré back with Klein. There's an issue here though. The referee stopped the game as Romero's gone down holding his head. But the referee, I think, has fallen for that, because I don't think there's anything wrong with Christian Romero. Although I might be taking a cynical view of it, but he's back up on his feet. He's fine. That was unnecessary, that. See this again. There's a collision with Jefferson Lerma, but not really. Yeah, but the referee stops the game. I mean, Romero knows what he was doing, so I don't know about that. Palace will make another double change in a moment. Making the most of the 5 subs tonight is Roy Hodgson. They're going to make another double substitution then. The first to make way will be Jefferson Lerma. He will make way for Mateus França. So França on for Lerma. And the second substitution is going to be Eldson Edouard. And he's going to make way and be replaced by Jean-Philippe Mateta. So attacking substitutions for Crystal Palace. They have to throw another body on to try and change the outcome of this game. Give them a bit more of an attacking threat, a bit more prowess up front to see what they can create. Klein, nice ball in behind, trying to find Franca initially, but just evaded him at the last second there. Too much on that one from Natty Klein. I don't know him personally. I would guess that's his nickname. Anyway, Vicario. Van de Ven. Spurs have it at the back here. The clock is running down pretty quickly. Palace, if they're going to find a goal back, they need to do it pretty quickly. There's not much time left. Although, it only takes a second to score a goal. Here's Christian Romero. And let's just say he's not the most popular man inside Selhurst Park. There's rising boos around Selhurst Park when he gets a touch on the ball. Vicario taking his time. Gets it to Van de Ven. Back to Vicario. He's taking his time again. Gives it out to Van de Ven. Once again. Down the line. Madison. Royale. Flicks it round the corner. Finds Son on the run. Son to Kulishevsky, who plays it through the middle. Kulishevsky trying to go for goal himself. Palace have it blocked. And Doucouré can carry it away. Couldn't keep it alive there, Palace. They lost the ball. Porro. Or sorry, Brennan Johnson. Madison. Now Son. Son to flick it in. Cleared away by Palace. Ayew. Spurs win it back through Højbjerg. Kulishevsky. Højbjerg will go all the way back to Romero. The boos will sound again, and he goes back to Vicario. Inside his own 18-yard box again. Spurs not forcing it at this late stage. They're just managing the game now. Not taking any unnecessary risks that they don't need to at 2-0 with 10 minutes to go. Waiting to see what Crystal Palace will do. Whether they will step on or whether they will just wait. Be a bit more patient with it, Crystal Palace. Klein trying to break it apart, but Brennan Johnson picks up the loose ball, finds Son. Son on the run, down the right-hand side. Kulishevsky now to the byline. Kulishevsky inside the box. Gets it back to Sarr. Now Porro. Across to Højbjerg. Here's Son. Sarr. Madison. Back to Højbjerg. Madison to Højbjerg again. Pass and move football from Tottenham. They have already got enough of the possession. 74% of the ball they've had all throughout the game. They're looking to try and up that, it seems, late on here. Vicario. Romero. Højbjerg. Flicked it on for Kulishevsky. Back to Højbjerg. Nice space. Lovely football from Spurs. Here's Sarr. Bit of space to run into. Trying to find the cross to Son. Well covered by Joachim Andersen. And he puts it out for the Spurs corner. Absolutely beautiful football to watch from Spurs. Quick pass and move football. Triangle passes. They're working in groups. They're working together. And they have so many runners. Madison. The corner comes short. Royale flicks it across the goal. Back into the play, and Guehi can clear it. Thought they were going to get the goal there. That back post chance, but comes to nothing. We're checking for a possible penalty. VAR. I don't know what they're checking though. Where? I mean, it's really close, that one. Brennan Johnson just heads it back into the mix. It just kind of skims off the arm of Nathaniel Klein, and VAR checking this. I mean, it's really not much in that, really. They've played on. So VAR have concurred that there wasn't really much in that, and they've decided that that's not enough for a penalty, so we will play on. I think that's the correct decision, really. It just skims the arm of Nathaniel Klein. Not much contact, really. Here is Son. Makes the run down the left, trying to play it right across. And Madison was in the middle, but so was Sam Johnston, the Palace keeper, who got a catch on the ball. They've been definitely better in the second half, Spurs. Clearly, because they've scored 2 goals. But, I mean, in terms of the way they've played the football, the way they've played, their build-up play, their possession, their kind of ability to create attacks and their fluidity really on those attacks have been so much better in the second half. They were a bit choppy in the first half. They weren't able to sustain it as much as they would have liked. Here's Raksaki to pick up a long ball from Sam Johnston, and slight tug on Raksaki will give Palace the free kick in a good area. Well, this is interesting. A goal now for Palace would certainly set us up for a grandstand finish, but we have to try and find the first goal first. Spurs. The Spurs goalkeeper has kept the joint most clean sheets this season. 4 clean sheets this campaign, Vicario, so far. He's looking to make it 5 tonight. Hoping he can maintain that so far. He's made big saves in the game to deny Palace a goal. Ball whipped in, cleared away. Klein picks up the loose one. Down the left is Anderson. Can they keep it alive from this position? Anderson with the ball across, takes a slight deflection, and it luckily hit a Spurs player in there from a Spurs point of view. Went out for the corner, but I think Mark Guehi was waiting on the ball coming in to slide and go for it. Van de Ven hits that cross and will go for the Palace corner. Franca to take on the left hand side. It'll be an in-swinging corner. Ball whipped in, bouncing around, and it was flicked on, but it was a Spurs player. It comes off last. Another Palace corner. They need to make the most of this attacking opportunity, Palace. They need to get a goal if they're going to try and give us a grandstand finish, kind of bit of drama laid on. Short corner, Raksaki on the edge. The strike takes a deflection. Another Palace corner. Franca to take this one again. Goes long this time, but goes far too long. It's probably one of the worst corners I've seen all season, really. He just boots it like a free kick. Straight out of play. Tottenham goal kick. Wow. There you go. Well, it seems like we've got our Premier League weekend off to a pretty good start. Although it's still not over yet, this game. Still time to go. But we're underway for another weekend, it seems, on a Friday night. That has been certainly entertaining, this game, from start to finish. Although we're not finished yet. We'll have Premier League action on Sunday for you. Doubleheader, West Ham against Everton at 1. Followed by the Manchester Derby from Old Trafford. United against City from 3:30. Before we have a NFL doubleheader later in the evening. 8:25 in the evening for our opening game. Bengals at the 49ers. And then that followed up by a late game in the early hours of Monday morning as the Chicago Bears head to the LA Chargers. Spurs will have a throw in here. We wrap up our weekend of coverage on Halloween morning. early hours of Halloween, we will have another NFL game as the Las Vegas Raiders head to the Detroit Lions. That's in the early hours of Tuesday morning. If you want to find any information on any of our upcoming streams, just go to our channel page, go to the home page, and you'll see a kind of slide with all of our upcoming streams. All of them are up there at the moment. And while you're there, if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button, turn on post notifications, and also hit that like button on the stream as well if you've enjoyed this stream. Greatly appreciated. We're looking to build and to grow the channel as the season goes on. Into our second season here in LFS, and we're looking to build and build stronger together. That's not a slogan, it's just words. Spurs are going to make another double substitution. They think this game is pretty much in their favour and wrapped up now, and they're going to take the big hitters off. Madison's coming off. He is being replaced by Brian Hill. And the second substitution, Dejan Kulusevski, is coming off, and he is being replaced by Rodrigo Bentancur, who also returns from injury, by the way. Bentancur had that long-term injury back in February. Bentancur, and the away fans in that far side are chanting and cheering that he is back onto the field, Rodrigo Bentancur. Great to see him back. Really lit up the Premier League since he joined last season. He was very, very good in his first season at Spurs. Came to quite a disappointing end with that injury, but he's back and surely ready to go, and as if that's what Spurs need now. More depth, more quality. Any more quality and they'll wrap this league up by Christmas, it seems. Although, far away from that yet. Here's Pap Sarr into the last few seconds of the 90. Sarr carries the ball forward. Brennan Johnson, who's now switched over to the right-hand side. Porro, Royale. And we've surpassed the 90, and the referee doesn't want this game to end, it seems. He's added 8 minutes on to the end of the game. So 8 added minutes. Fun says, who is he tied with? Who? Sarr, lovely ball, finds Brennan Johnson, cuts it back, Son, and the strike blocked. Follow up is blocked as well and cleared away by Bentancur. Apologies, Fun. I don't have a clue who you're on about or what you're on about. If you would let me know, I can help you out. I have no idea. Lovely again from Spurs. Pap Sarr finds Brennan Johnson, who cuts it back. Son takes a strike. It's a lovely cut back by Brennan Johnson. They look to be a real good partnership, Son and Johnson. It's a real wonder why Brennan Johnson isn't starting for Tottenham. Some would question why Richarlison's starting ahead of him, but I'm not one of those. Keep myself out of controversy as much as possible. He's got a point. He's made a big impact, Brennan Johnson. He'll certainly give Ange Postecoglou a few questions that he would have to answer in the next coming days before they do head back to North London for another London derby to face Chelsea in just over a week's time. Cracker of a game to look forward to, Tottenham-Chelsea. I'm sure, although I don't have the confirmation of our upcoming schedule, I would believe that Tottenham-Chelsea would be on our list for coverage in a few weeks' time. It's a Monday night game, that. Surely we will let you know anyway. That's a foul on Emerson Royale. They take it quickly. Here's Geel. Spurs just passing it around now. I wonder why they add so much additional time. There's no need. I mean, Spurs aren't going to go for a third goal if they don't have to. They're not forcing it. But we're kind of in limbo now. This is where it gets to the point of, like, you're hoping for a Palace comeback. Well, they're on the attack now. They're on the break. Ball finds its way through to Mateta. Mateta on the run. Van de Ven on the cover. Good defending by Mickey Van de Ven. But at this point, you're kind of waiting for a Palace comeback, because 8 added minutes, Spurs aren't going to force for a third or a fourth goal. They're just going to manage the game, see it out, run the clock down. They're not pushing for even more goals. Palace with a cross. Ayew takes it down. Ayew with a strike. Ayew with a goal. Well, the game isn't over yet then. Spurs were managing it and have been managing it for the last 13 minutes. But Palace get their chance, their opportunity. It falls beautifully for Jordan Ayew, and he doesn't let that opportunity go a-begging. Lovely chest down on the half volley. On the volley, really. Right-footed strike, right through the ball, right past Vicario in the goal. And Palace are back. They've got one back. I said they need to get one goal to give us a grandstand finish, possibly. Well, they've got that goal. Could they do even better and get a second? Crystal Palace 1, Tottenham 2. It's not over yet. Although it could be, because VAR are checking for a possible handball, and I think he might have handballed this. See the replay. He chests it down, but does he use his hand? He chests it onto his hand. I think this is tight, this. Isn't there the argument that if it hits another body part before the arm, it doesn't count as a handball? But it's kind of one of those ones where he chests it, and then it hits his arm in the process. It looks like it hits his chest before his arm, but whether they will deem that enough for it not to be handball, I do not know. But VAR are checking this, so we're not even confirmed that Palace have a goal back yet. Stuart Atwell having a good look at it in the VAR booth. I think he's just done enough there to avoid a handball. The referee's going to make his decision. The referee's going to confirm the decision in a second, it seems. Are they giving it or what? They're taking really good look at this VAR. They're very unsure. If you're unsure, I would say stick with the on-field decision of a goal. I don't think there's very much in it. And now there's a chant going around Selhurst Park. I'll not repeat it, but I'm sure you can guess. There's four letters in it, followed by VAR. You can guess. The first letter of that word is F, but we'll leave it. It's some finish, to be fair. The quality of the goal is beautiful, but whether it's a valid goal, VAR still conferring as to whether it is or not. I think it should be given. And the check is complete. It is a Palace goal. VAR took their time, needed to make sure that it was a fair goal, and they've deemed that Jordan Ayew did do enough. Chested the ball before it hit his arm. And that's fair enough. And now we do have a grandstand finish. And now James Maddison is complaining to the fourth official. He's not happy with the decision to give a goal. He's screaming at the fourth official. We do have a game on our hands here. I did mention Spurs have only dropped points twice this season. They have come in 2-2 draws away in London. Could we be seeing a third successive occasion where Spurs draw 2-2 away from home in a London derby? Palace are going to need to get it moving quickly if they're going to do that. We've had 7 minutes surpassed, but of course a long VAR check. Surely there'll be a bit more time than the 8 added to play. Now Palace are up for this now. Ayew. Looking really threatening, Jordan Ayew on the left-hand side, keeping it alive and winning Crystal Palace a corner. And that's got the crowd up, got the crowd going and cheering. They're bouncing inside that stand behind the goal. The keeper's coming up at this point. Sam Johnston's up. Corner from Franca, right into the box, beats Vicario. Just beats all the players in there, and Spurs clear their lines. But they've no keeper, Palace, in their own goal, but they have the ball. Nothing to worry about there. Lovely switch ball. Palace down the right hand side. Raksaki felt he was fouled, but the referee said no. Oh, a late challenge there from Joel Ward. Or was it Joel Ward? It was a Palace player. I couldn't see who it was. It was Joachim Andersen in, maybe. Bit of frustration there from Crystal Palace. It was a late challenge. Raksaki's still down, by the way. Wanted a free kick initially. It was more yellow cards. A yellow card given out to Joachim Andersen for the challenge. And a few Spurs players also given a yellow card. I'll confirm those in a moment. Sorry, fun. Apologies. Clean sheets, yes. I will check that for you now. I just read the stat that he was level on clean sheets. I will check it for you and let you know while we have this stoppage at the moment. Vicario is level with Sam Johnston, the Palace keeper, and Nick Pope on 4 clean sheets this season. So Vicario, Pope and Johnston all on 4 clean sheets, but neither Johnston or Vicario are getting clean sheets tonight. They both conceded goals. Spurs will be hoping they don't concede another one. Palace will be hoping they can score another one. Still time to go. Brennan Johnson was also yellow carded in that whole scuffle. Ayew getting involved. Can't keep the ball though. Spurs carry it away. They need to get the ball up the other end of the pitch, Palace. But they've just given away a free kick. Pape Sarr. And now the whole of the yellow cards are coming out. The referee hadn't given a yellow card out until the 99th minute. He's now given out 3 yellow cards in the space of 30 seconds. Jordan Ayew now this time booked for arguing for the giving of that free kick to Spurs. We're now over 100 minutes played. Palace 1, Spurs 2. Vicario with a long ball clearance. Son misses it. Anderson. Oh, Son went for the header, but he was in an offside position. So free kick Palace. This might be the last opportunity. Sam Johnston to take the free kick inside his own half. They need to move it quickly, Palace. Fires the long ball, does Johnston. Taken down by Anderson on the left. Ayew. But then Anderson's offside from the free kick. So it gives Spurs a free kick, and that surely will dead the game now. Surely that will be the end. Yeah, they done well there. Spurs held a high line from the free kick, and Anderson just went a bit too quick, a bit too eager. The Palace centre back. Now Vicario has the chance to take a free kick to clear his lines. Clear it away far from his goal as possible. Spurs have it with Bentancur. Now Sarr. To Porro. Spurs will just want to keep the ball until the final whistle now. Vicario has it all the way back. Højbjerg. Romero. Palace trying to apply a bit of pressure to try and break it apart. Ward intercepts. Maybe one more chance for Palace. Anderson tries to play it across. Takes a deflection. Kept alive. Flicked on by Mateta. Frank is at the back post. He's just missed it. Slices right through it. That would have been a glorious goal for Crystal Palace. 102nd minute. They kept it alive. Mateta with a flick on, and Franca was at the back post. Completely unmarked, and Porro chasing across to try and block it. And Franca just slices through it, it seems. And that surely is that. Palace did have one more chance, but couldn't make enough of it. And Spurs once again get the 3 points. They go in a very good position, top of the Premier League table, 5 points clear of the champions Manchester City. James Maddison was the man heavily involved in the own goal from Joel Ward to open the scoring for Spurs. Son had 13 touches before he scored with his 14th touch. Very little involved, but he got the goal that put Spurs 2-0 up. Just as we thought it was over, Jordan Ayew scored a late goal for Palace in added time that set us up for a dramatic finish, but Palace just couldn't make it 2 goals in added time to take a point from top of the table Spurs. Ange Postecoglou has had a remarkable start to his career with Spurs, and they are in a very, very good position. 5 points clear at the top of the Premier League. They're undoubtedly the season's early table toppers and pace setters. Final score from Selhurst Park on this Friday night. It's Crystal Palace 1, Tottenham Hotspur 2.